Continue our discussion of the concept of human cloning today. Joining us in our studio and testifying on the Hill today is Brigitte Boisselier, who is scientific director for a private company called Clonaid. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Sure. Tell us first what Clonaid is and what the company is working on right now.
Okay, so Clonaid is a private company. We founded that 4 years ago, got the funding to really have lab last August. And so now we have 3 scientists working almost full-time in a lab here in the United States with the major goal for us to produce a human embryo by human cloning.
Why do you want to do it?
There are several reasons. The first one is that why am I doing it myself is just because I think I had to do it. 4 years ago when I heard all the establishment saying this is so bad and all these things, I said I have to do it and show that this is only a baby. A little baby, the belated twin of an individual, and that's it. It's not a monster, it's not all, you know, what we have been hearing so many bad things about this baby. And so we decided to do that 4 years ago. Now we are on the verge to have this first embryo.
And when do you suspect it will happen?
I don't want to be rushed into saying dates. What I'm saying is that we are in the process of doing it. We will check every possible defects before, so we'll need to make sure that the embryo is completely viable and before doing any implantation. So the soonest we could have an implantation is mid-April. It could be in a year from now because we want to make sure that this baby is completely and perfectly healthy. Very, very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born. She was born yesterday at 11:55 a.m. in the country where she was born. So this will not give you more details about the location. She's fine. We call her Eve between us. You knew that, of course. Some suggested it, and I thought it was a good idea, actually. You won't have the right name. And, you know, for a long time, I thought that this press conference will be with the baby, the parents, the scientists, everybody surrounding me, and having pleasure announcing it. I'm alone. And there is a reason to that, is that it hasn't been easy to face the world with this announcement. And we have been discussing with the parents the last 3 months how we would handle today. And they decided not to show up yet. They will. I hope they will. And I wish them well. We started really to work with human eggs in January of this year. So it took us 3 months to finalize, and this is very short, and that's why I said, is it luck or is it hard work? I do believe it's hard work. But we had really good success very quickly and refined the technique for human eggs until spring, where we started to have implantation. We had 10 implantations, and 5 of them during the first 3 weeks were terminated spontaneously. 5 others were successful and are still successful. The first one was born yesterday. The next one is due in Europe next week.
It is everywhere. Now, Clonaid, a company backed by a group called the Raelism religious movement, claims to have produced a human clone. But so far, there's been no evidence to prove that. But could that all change today?
I'm very, very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born.
Can that be true? Or is it some kind of twisted tale made up by a group of people calling themselves the Raelians? Late last year, Raelian Bishop Dr. Brigitte Boisselier announced that a biotechnology company named Clonaid had done it. The Raelians believe that humans evolved from aliens through cloning. Cloning leads to eternal life. Their spiritual leader, 56-year-old former race car driver and journalist Rael, founded the organization after he allegedly was abducted by aliens in 1973. But many are suspect of their claims and are opposed to their practices.
The human race is not open for experimentation, and manufacture of human beings at any level, even the embryonic level, is wrong.
When it comes to defending America, it is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space. So important. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. We are going to have the Air Force, and we are going to have the Space Force.
If it is true, though, it's extraordinarily disturbing and sad, actually, that some fringe group would go ahead and try to do an experiment that virtually every scientist in the world said was irresponsible and dangerous to do.
Human cloning. The debate continues. Now we're going to get answers from members of the Raelian movement, including the vice president of CloneAid, Thomas Kainsing, and Raelian priest Mary Ellen Parent. We'll also talk to medical experts and a former Raelian who claims the whole thing is a hoax. Now, CloneAid's and the Raelians, is it the real thing? That's up next. Now, if CloneAid has really produced the human clone, where's the proof? We'll talk about those claims, and later we'll meet a mother who's counting on CloneAid to produce a clone of her daughter who died tragically a year ago. Now, Thomas Kainsing and Mary Ellen Parent are both members of the Raelian movement, and Thomas is vice president of CloneAid. Now, CloneAid's CEO, Bridget Bosselier, made this announcement. Please listen.
Very, very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born. The parents are American citizen. The mother is 31. She is the one who has been cloned, and she carried her baby.
Now, thanks for being here, both of you. And I want to say we're going to try to provoke a healthy debate today and be objective about this. Now, Thomas, you know, the real debate now, after that announcement, I mean, that's an earth-shaking announcement. The debate and the questions from journalists worldwide, not just here in America, is where is the proof? Where is the baby?
We would like to provide the proof as quick and as soon as possible. You probably heard about what happened since we made the announcement. There has been this attorney in Florida asking for a guardian for the child. We've had the FDA, the SEC, different government agencies launching investigation. And that scared the parents a lot. You have to put yourself in the mind of a family who's been waiting for years, for many, many years, to have a baby. They're very happy the baby's here, but they're very concerned about what's happening right now, and they don't want to take any risk for the baby to be taken away. So we proceed as soon as possible, as soon as the family will feel safe, and then we'll go ahead.
I think, you know, the fears are legitimate, and I also think the questions are legitimate. This attorney in Florida has filed to be guardian of the child. Why? Why would he do that?
No, he hasn't filed for him to be guardian.
Oh.
He asked the juvenile court. It's going to be a hearing next week, and we don't want to go into specific details. But he would like to have a guardian appointed for the child, saying that the child's being exploited. And that's very funny because we don't show the child on TV saying, hey, here it is, and we don't exploit it. He also said if the child might have some problems, some physical problems, that's another reason why it should be have a guardian for it. And I hope that all people with handicapped children will write to Siegel and tell him this is really a big insult. How could you say, just in case the baby would have any problem, it should have a guardian? Would that mean that any parent having a handicapped child should be having the child taken away? How could they do that?
Which is truly unfair. If you had a Down syndrome baby or something, I guess the concern is that, you know, so far the sheep that was cloned rapidly aged and that there's been problems in the past with cloning. But no law I know exists on the books now that says just because you were successful in cloning a child, that child should be taken away by the state. If I were the parents, I would say, here's the child, here's a swab of the DNA, let's get it tested, it's our baby, we'll fight this lawyer.
Yes. And you're very correct, and we would be very happy to do things. You're saying there's no law against cloning. Perfect. Why has this attorney launched this lawsuit? Why did all the government agencies launch their actions? Why in South Korea?
Well, they have every right to investigate, you know, behind it, the actions,
there's nothing
etc.
illegal. And put yourself, also look back in time. When Louisa Brown, the first test tube baby, was born, 25 years ago, we had exactly the same reaction. People didn't understand IVF, in vitro fertilization.
Right.
We had the same ethical concerns. People were saying it was dangerous. And the identity of Louisa Brown had to be kept secret for many, many years. And we see the same thing happen again with cloning. Now, we hope that people understand who can really benefit from the technology. And that's what the most important that we're going to talk about. When we talk about reproductive cloning, we talk about infertile couples. We talk about homosexual couples. We talk about people of age who don't want to pass on the disease to their child nor to their partner. We talk about people who lost a child. And we talk about singles who don't want to have a partner and still like to have a child with their own genes. That's the people we talk about.
Huge amount of possibilities and
those
potential
people have a
here.
sincere interest,
Right.
and they're looking forward so much to this technology. And this is just reproductive human cloning. Let's talk about therapeutic human cloning. You have people in a wheelchair who will be able to walk again thanks to this technology. Are you going to tell them it's unethical, it shouldn't be done? That's ridiculous. And we just see the same reaction like anything new.
It's similar like the
new has
debate
been
of
faced the
stem
same
cell
criticism.
research and stuff
Yes.
like that. Let me ask you, Mary Ellen, you're a Raelian priest. Tell me a little bit about how you joined the movement,
Yes.
and tell me a little bit about cloning.
Yes, because it's very two different things.
Right.
You have the Raelian movement, you have this company that is completely separate. And in the company, there is scientists. This is not the Raelian who just go there and try to make a clone. It is a professional scientists who are there and they know what they're doing. And I read the messages of His Holiness Rael in 1978. That's quite a long time ago. And when I read the book, I said, wow. Because I was Catholic, I was believing in God, and finally I could understand who he was. Who is this guy, you know?
You were a Catholic?
Yes,
Right.
I was raised Catholic. And I was very religious, and I keep on being religious, and we have a very high level of spirituality as a Raelian. But finally I could understand that the people who created us, it's not just a big being sitting on a cloud with a magic stick in 6 days creating everything. Finally, those are people like us. It's in the Bible, the Elohim. It means those who came from the sky. It's Hebrew, and it's plural. And they created us on their image after their likeness. They're like us. They're human beings, but they're so advanced scientifically that what they can do is like a miracle
So
to
that's
us.
the Raelian philosophy, that a very gentle, sophisticated
Yes.
people from another planet came here. Now, we have a little bit of tape from Rael, and let's listen to this.
Right now, cloning is just the possibility to have a twin brother. Right now, what we can do, what is possible to do, and what I hope Dr. Sid will do, is to create a baby. The next step is when you can, through a process which does exist on the Elohim planet, and which will be discovered on us for sure, is what they call accelerated growth process. Accelerated growth process is to be able to create directly an adult from one of your cells. The third step, and this is the one the most interesting, is when you will be able to transfer your memory and personality directly in the individual you obtain through accelerated growth process. Then it's really yourself, with your memory, with your personality, in a new body.
I couldn't help at one point in my discussions privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children, wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together. Well, I don't suppose we can wait for some alien race to come down and threaten us, but I think that between us we can bring about that realization. In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war? I think maybe I'd answer it this way. I keep, in my frustration sometimes, you know, actually, if you count some of the things going on in smaller countries and all, there have been about 114 wars since World War II. But I've often wondered, what if all of us in the world discovered that we were threatened by a power from outer space, from another planet? Wouldn't we all of a sudden find that we didn't have any differences between us at all? We were all human beings, citizens of the world, and wouldn't we come together to fight that particular threat?
So paradigm is a way to get rid of money, and when you get rid of money, you get rid of classes. There is no more class war like Karl Marx was saying. It's communism, but when communism was created, it's supposed to have a class of rich people and a class of slaves. But thanks to technology, and we don't need anymore a working class. We can replace progressively the working class by machine, robots, computer, nanotechnology, and suddenly nobody has to work. Every human being should have the right, when he's born, to have food forever, social service forever, health care forever, and a house forever, without working. Because the work can be done by robots and nanotechnology, computers, and all the new technologies coming out. So this is the end of the class war, the end of the separation between rich and poor. If before, with communism, suddenly everybody was poor. With a paradigm, everybody is rich. How do we do the transition from capitalism to paradigm? By revolting, with a peaceful, non-violent revolt. Just stopping, occupy Wall Street, occupy the street, and say we don't want any more of this system. At the same time, this world revolution is happening everywhere, thanks to the internet, which is great because it's for the first time connecting all the people of the world and the people of every continent at the same time say, that's enough. We had enough. We work like slaves all our life to pay one house, then the bank can take the house if you stop paying. This is slavery. There is enough resources in the world to make everybody rich. Communism was making everybody poor, but thanks to technology, everybody is rich. What is to be rich? It's not to have a lot of things, it's just to have a life when you know you have a house forever, you have food forever, and you have a health service forever. That is to be rich. In this case, why should some people have more money than others? When everybody has the same, everybody is rich. And there is enough on this planet to have 7 billion of people, all with the same wealth, a beautiful wealth, which is having a beautiful life, and let the computer and the nanotechnology do the job. Most important thing in paradigm is that it brings to people the most important thing in life, which is not owning anything, but being. When you have no need to work, to eat, then you develop spirituality, consciousness, happiness, love for each other. When you are slave, when you work for money and you want to have more money than the neighbor, more money than other countries. Then you develop a mentality of happiness being connected with having. And that's not happiness, that's slavery forever, and create economic depression, which bring physical depression, mental depression. But when happiness is being, not having, we don't need anything. And then the level of happiness in the society, not only the happiness of the poor people, but also the happiness of the rich people, it's automatic. When everybody has enough, not too much, but enough, to have a place to sleep, to have enough food every day, without working, the billionaire will be happier and the poor people will be happier. So paradise create paradise on earth. And what is paradise? Happiness. If everybody share, everybody is happier. Those who haven't will be happier because suddenly they can eat, but also those who have, because for sure not one billionaire right now in this world, on this planet, can be happy when he sees homeless people and when he knows that every minute one child is dying in Africa because no food. Not one billionaire can be happy. So paradise not only make poor people happier, but make also rich people happier.
Hundreds of thousands of people around the world believe, as all Raelians do, that we were created by advanced scientists from another planet who made us in their image. Those extraterrestrial creators mentioned in the Bible as the Elohim have continued throughout history to monitor our progress and have also sent us messengers, including Jesus, the Buddha, Mohammed, and a few dozen others throughout the centuries. Each messenger brought humanity a message appropriate for the level of human understanding prevailing at the time. Our current level of knowledge prompted our extraterrestrial creators to send one last messenger, Rael. His mission is to tell human beings the truth about our origins and to communicate our creators' desire to meet with us, accompanied by all the ancient prophets they will bring with them, as announced in various religions and traditional scriptures found on all continents. But before the Elohim officially visit us, we must build an embassy in a world of peace, which will become the third temple predicted in ancient writings.
They look like us because they created us in their image, like the Bible explained. And these people came on the earth a very long time ago. They built big laboratories, and in these laboratories, thanks to DNA and genetic combination, they created all life on earth. It means trees, animals, and man in their image. The original Bible, you can find one very easily. It's not written the first day God did that, but the first day Elohim did that. The second day Elohim did that. And in Hebrew, Elohim means those who came from the sky. They asked me if possible to build this embassy near Jerusalem, because it's for them a very important place. They had, the first laboratory was made, the Garden of Eden is in the Bible, was near Jerusalem. It's up to us. We have the choice. They are not invaders. They respect us. So they will come only if we want to welcome them. And the people who are ready will help you. We don't need to convince all the mankind. We cannot convince all the mankind. And you cannot convince. Jesus couldn't, Moses couldn't, Muhammad couldn't. So you have just to find the right people, they are at the right place to bring them together and they will help you. We already are 20,000 and we will build this embassy.
Such is the mission of Rael and those who have decided to help him, the members of the International Raelian Movement. Your country could be the host of this embassy and benefit from the tens of billions of dollars that it will bring in additional revenue. The host country will also forever have the prestige of being the one who dared welcome those who created us, and in doing so, will offer a very great service to humanity. The host country will need to grant the Raelian movement a very small amount of land, approximately 4 square kilometers, for the purpose of building a peace-loving embassy where the residents and visitors will have privacy and diplomatic neutrality. The country granting the necessary extraterritoriality and authorization for the embassy to be built within its territory will not only benefit financially, but enjoy the protection of the Elohim. It will become the spiritual and scientific center of the planet for millennia to come, and happiness will prevail within its borders. This can be your country.
How you doing? Bill.
Nice to meet you, Bill.
Nice
I know
to
you.
meet
I
you.
am one of your fans.
Oh, isn't that nice? Well, thank you for joining us. How are you? Nice to see you. How are you? How are you? Hello. Oh, more Raelians?
We have many, but I don't know if there is room for everybody. We call ourselves an atheist religion.
An atheist religion,
Yes.
yeah.
There is no God, but there is something we call God, who care for us, who love us, and that's the Elohim.
In 1973,
Yes.
you were contacted by extraterrestrials,
The Elohim.
the Elohim, and they informed you they had created life on Earth.
Yes, scientifically in laboratory.
Well,
My mission is that, to prepare their coming back, the second coming of the Elohim, who will come back with Moses, Jesus, all the prophets, to create peace on Earth.
Sure, they're not just fattening us up like veal.
No.
I'm fascinated by the second encounter you've had, where you went to their planet.
Yes.
Do you remember the trip?
Oh, yes, of course.
How long did it take?
The technology they have make it like a dream. If
Could
you
it have been a dream?
No.
No.
What you feel in their eyes is a love that no human being can give you.
But they're short, so you have to...
So physically,
Well-
yes, but the physical aspect is not important.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
But I mean, to look in their eyes, you'd have
That's
to...
the eyes.
Right. Why do you think you were chosen to hear this message?
That was my first question. They sent me to save this planet, which is quite a big
Right.
mission.
Now, other prophets in other religions past, like Moses,
Yes.
similar situation, always seems to be, when you talk to the people from somewhere beyond Earth, it's always just in private. But
We
wouldn't it
have-
have been easier just for them directly to talk to everyone on Earth? We are all depending on it just coming from you. I mean, if you got it wrong, the rest of us are fucked.
No, because let me make the difference. It's the first time that a prophet is contacted and speak one-to-one, face-to-face to Elohim or God.
Do you
At the
see why
beginning.
that makes people suspicious?